years ago. Scott, which is one of the authors that I also like because of his work related with his intelligent home in the Stanford University in the Archimedes project that was called about smart houses for the 21st century. This is our century. Well, at that time, he was saying, well, expectations towards these smart homes, okay, he was quite pragmatic because he was using computers, and right now these are devices that have computation abilities, and, well, we have been updating all of the features of these computers. It could be an advanced sensor, it could be a media center, it could be mobile phones, to help their dwellers to live happily and safe, because the expectations I had based on those homes, such as comfort, entertaining, etc., this is not based clearly on a survey carried out among the population and knowing what they want on the smart homes. No, this is also linked to what technologies could offer. I'm talking about schools, universities, industry, etc. And then he said there's a lot of automated tasks, and then that's relief in the in the house chores that have to be done. Also, learning techniques and leisure is taken into account and integrated in a simple, transparent manner. It hides all of those cumbersome details of how it really works. And still, in many demos, we can see that we are spending a lot of time in, oh, look at the bandwidth here. So it's like this is not interesting somehow. And then, based on all of these issues, and now linking this to ambient intelligence, which is what I've been mentioning since the beginning of my speech. Well, this article that I was talking about, the report from Ducatel of the COSH project, which is accessibility for everyone in services and terminals in the next generation. Well, this ambient intelligence is where people are surrounded by these intelligent interfaces, where the environment is able to acknowledge the presence of different people in an invisible, non-invasive, continuous manner. And now I'm reading the definition because I wanted to be loyal to what Educatel and their colleagues were writing down. And being analytical and critical about this, I am also seeing the person who is also using sign language. And then I think, okay, maybe I am talking too fast and no one told me about that. Did I realize? Am I sensitive along these lines? How does the system realize that the people are there and if its behavior is suitable for a specific channel or specific person at that time? Empathy, again. We need to have a certain knowledge so as to have this empathy. It will need to capture what's going on, but also to react in an adequate way, because usually we're based on time. Is the audience getting tired here? I'm the first speaker in the morning. I need to be careful with time. So the context is also important. It also has an impact on the service offer. So smart home, again. In other words, well, it's a home full of devices that are sensitive to people's presence and help them carry out some chores. Well, that's again the initial definition of digital home, which is based on technology again. I would prefer to say digital home, which is accessible, and that's a link to that the idea of digital home where the person is taken care of, he feels protected, and in a natural, non-invasive and easy way, they feel vitally protected and taken care of. So when we talk about the intelligent ambient, there's 2 points of view, the dweller's point of view and the engineering point of view. And both parts are important to solve the problem. I'm not saying that the engineering is not important, because without engineering, there is no intelligent home. But it's not enough. So if we see this from the engineering point of view, this is an ambient intelligence is is a system that can customize itself, link to the person, learn about his habits. They can learn different variables because it has to be fast in a way in reacting as well. And from an engineering point of view, and now I'm focusing on technical expectations, although I'm always concentrating on the dweller, this has to be scalable based on knowledge. It should be customized, learn from people, etc. And here we need special techniques of advanced communication and so on. But from the dweller point of view, the intelligent and ambient is mistaken with the normal ambient. For example, when we're talking about an accessible, intelligent home, we don't see like 2010 Odyssey special lights or flashes. We are not expecting that. What we are expecting is a natural integration. So this means pure accessibility that does not alter the environment. It's non-intrusive. It doesn't mean that technology is invisible, because the experience we have with this intelligent home in the university is that we also like seeing some sensors every so often, because if we see the green light, this means that the detector is working, etc. But it should know the needs of the different people. And from the dweller's point of view, this means who am I, what do I need, when do I want it, how do I want it. And this means communication. Multimodal interface, again, it's voice recognition systems, interaction recognition systems. This is very important. And this is a new communication language. When we were talking with voice recognition systems at the beginning, when we were working on this, it was like a brand new thing. We had to create new systems to interact with dwellers along these lines. We have improved a great deal along these lines. So is the dweller seeing this as an intelligent home? Well, yes, if it's integrated in the environment, if it meets their needs, if there's no problems and there's solutions created. It's at the end of the day, it's the dweller feeling at home. I'm wrapping up here, and I would like to summarize and finish by saying, by summarizing the main four axes of this accessible, intelligent home. It has to be accessible and safe. It has to promote personal autonomy. It has to facilitate independent life, and this for each person and group means something different. So we need to analyze that. And it has to respect the entity of the different dwellers. Another anecdote, another funny story. A couple of weeks ago, we had in this digital home an automated door. We had been waiting for it for a long time. So we had this automated domotic door. And the installation also has to be intelligent, because if when you're in front of the door opens, but it takes a long time to open, then you say, oh, it's taking a long time. If I'm in a wheelchair, it's not a matter of time, but it's important that it is open a long time so that I have time to get in, and then it can close on its own. But if when it is closing, it closes too slow, it is very safe in the sense that I'm going to be able to get in the home with no bumps nor anything. But if it's closing too slowly, in the end, it's not going to close properly. So it is going to be very safe for me in the wheelchair, but it's not going to be very safe for the home, because it's never going to close properly, which is the main objective of a door as well. So it's this kind of balance. We're talking about this automated domotic door, but analysis is important, design is important, but installation should also be intelligent. We need to take into account the context. And this is why I would like to put on the table that when we're talking about going towards this intelligent home, digital home, the analysis has to be intelligent. We need to focus on the analysis of dwellers, and we should move away from technological illusions. Although they can be there, we can take them into account in the design, but we should focus on dwellers. And with the intelligent, accessible digital home, we should forget that task-based paradigm, but we should talk about the paradigm of interaction, dweller environment and context. What do I mean by that? Nearly all of the devices that are working are based on chores. So I design them in such a way that the person who goes to a menu, let's call it like this metaphorically, well, they're going to do so, so, and so, and based on so, so, and so, they will get one answer. Or the system is offering, well, for example, the chores that the dweller wants and that specific functionality, if he's pressed the right button. So the person needs to know what they can do with the system, and the system is obliged to orient, to guide this dweller. In the paradigm of this intelligent, accessible digital home, the interaction based on context is not based on the dweller chore approach. The person is interacting with a digital home, and the digital home takes care of him, or sometimes it just shuts up based on what's better for that dweller, for that person. And I'm talking about different contexts here: health, education, work, or whatever. So the intelligent design for everyone has to be for everyone, and it has to do with the right technologies in the home that have to be congruent with the needs and expectations, and also integration and operation. It's that door example that I was talking about, which is really a domotic, simple example. The door we have does not learn. We wish it could learn, but the door does not learn that, for example, oh, today you're more tired, and it's also a little bit warm, so let's open the door a little bit so that the air comes in. You know, the door does not have this kind of reactions. There has to be a constant feedback. So a synthesis or a summary of the summary. It's these three circles. If it's not usable and not safe and not intelligent, well, this means it's not intelligent. Said in other words, if it's not usable, it cannot be accessible, and if it's not accessible, it cannot be usable. If it's not safe, it's not intelligent. If it's not usable, ethical, safe, or accessible, it's not intelligent. The main requirements of intelligent are all of these words that I'm mentioning, but this is going in just one direction. Sometimes we say, okay, it's safe, but it's not accessible, or it's accessible, but it's not safe. And then from the point of view of the person, it does not meet their expectations in an intuitive way, and thus it is not intelligent. And now, finally, I told you that I came here with an example. And this example is the SEMPER research project. We've been working on it in our group since 2006, where we have validated an intelligent system for the care of digital home. And the model that we see here, and we see it in this drawing that we have over here in this presentation, well, I'm going to briefly summarize this. On the left-hand side, we have an event linked to the person. For example, the person falls. There are some different sensors that have that information linked to that event. Some will make sense, some will not. We also have a context-sure device, regardless of the protocols, formats, technology, needs to put this in a language that we can understand from a reasoning point of view, a reasoning module, which is what I'm going to show to you when I wrap up with my presentation, and internal and external solutions through mobile or fixed solutions that can modify on the different actions that have to be taken into account. So to build up this model, we identified